And welcome back to Doom, episode 6 getting underway, but this isn't looking good.
He is here.
And now it's not sounding good. Looks like the hell portal that Olivia Pierce ripped open in the last episode sucked old Doom Marine in with it. But as big fans of the franchise, we know it wouldn't be a Doom game without a trip back to hell. So here we are, let's see if we can find our way out.
We'll set up a portal device at the tomb. Use the light poles to mark our path.
Okay, some immediately helpful holographic forensic reports there, which appeared to be a team of, for lack of a better term, space marines led by Dr. Samuel Hayden, the big robot. And from that and what we already know from other codex entries, we can probably put together that this is the Cadinger Sanctum, and the holographic report was from Dr. Hayden's expedition into the Cadinger Sanctum, which is where he found the Doom Marine in the sarcophagus and the Praetor suit.
blistered by the fires of hell and tainted beyond ascension. He chose the path of perpetual torment. In his ravenous hatred, he found no peace, and with boiling blood, he scoured the umbral plains, seeking vengeance against the Dark Lords who had wronged him. He wore the crown of the Night Sentinels, and those that tasted the bite of his sword named him the Doomslayer.
Okay, some very welcome backstory from what is the first of 6 codex entries called the Slayer's Testaments. Now, these all come from interacting with runestone like we just found in that cave, and those runestones all bear that same mark, which is identical to the mark that was on Doom Marine's sarcophagus when we started the game, as well as on his helmet. Okay, we still have that one last imp running around, kind of annoying, but just wanted to quickly point out, I don't know if you saw it, but Sweep the Leg mission challenge was completed on one of those Hellraisers. I'd been working on it in the other fight too. It required us to do 4 leg sweep glory kills on Hellraisers. Just all that means is target the right leg for the glory kill. Twice now we've had that epic, like Mozart Requiem choir music after the big fight. Just time itself nicely with opening a door, you know. And I just, obviously, you and I are the type that are sensitive to that kind of thing, so I've tried to lay off the voiceover so far in this episode. Alright, so our first Doom Guy collectible for this map, and this map is pretty labyrinthine, lots of using these skull keys and passing through these green smoke teleporters and going back to the same place again. I mean, it's very hell-like, right? Labyrinthine and confusing, but it's very cool looking. I love the atmospheric effects and the contrast of this to, you know, running around some space station on Mars, you know what I mean? Okay, a nice fight, and predictably, here comes the beautiful music, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to make any more room for it as we open the next door. You get the idea. It's great, it's well done, but it's time for voiceover, Devitron. So we opened the blue door, but before going on, we have to get to a rune trial. But also a new enemy, the Keiko Demon, a pretty iconic enemy in Doom, the big spherical floating flying blob with lots of teeth that shoots purple blobs at you. Very, very iconic Doom demon type. Okay, so on to the rune trial. We got to keep killing these imps or we won't be able to move. Okay, not too bad. Pretty fun one as they go. And again, we won't be using Savagery. Allows you to perform glory kills faster. But I like to get all the rune trials because they're fun and challenging and get the perfect scorecard, etc. Okay, so on through the blue door. And we're going to come up on our Argent Cell for the level, which is always a bonus. And like we've been doing, because health is already capped, we're just going to cap out ammo and then do armor last. Okay, some nice use of bottomless missiles there. You see how much better it is just being able to hold it down and get endless missiles, right? Okay, so with 3 Praetor tokens, we'll go ahead and finish out power-up effectiveness with Extender. That'll give us longer power-ups. And I kind of screw around right here, speaking of power-ups. We saw this one in the last mission, and I failed to mention it. It's invulnerability, and obviously you're invulnerable while you use it. So I thought it would be fun just to try to melee a Hell Knight. Little did I know his melees actually push me around. So I was kind of getting in danger of falling off, you know, the ledge, and then I actually take damage there because it wore off. Pretty dumb experiment, but anyway, that's invulnerability. And holy shit, look at this thing. The chain gun, Devitron. I mean, that is a huge gun. That is a massive gun. As usual, I put away our new toy immediately, and we'll get to it later. It's a really good weapon, but you need to upgrade it before it can be really good. Also, as we jump through here the first time, I don't know if you noticed those screaming skulls that kind of came at us. That's a new enemy. Those are called Lost Souls, and as long as you get them before they zoom in on you and explode, then they're not a problem. If they get to you, then it's trouble. Okay, a nice panorama of the hellscape, as it were. I mentioned already I really like the graphics and stuff in here. You've probably noticed there's been some glitchy black artifacting. I don't know why. It does that here and there on my settings, but it does it a lot on this map, so I apologize for that. There's nothing I can do about it. Okay, tough fight. Got in a little bit of trouble initially. Classic case of not moving enough, but we managed to shuck and jive and get through it. I don't know if you noticed, but when I was using the haste power-up and getting some kills, one of the mission challenges was progressing, and that's called momentum swing. We need to kill 10 enemies while using power-ups. As for the other two, we already mentioned sweep the leg for leg sweep glory kills on Hellraisers. We completed that early on. And the last one is Dead Man Stalking, and that's acquire 4 Praetor tokens. So we're almost done with that one. And here we are with the second rune trial, and this is a rough one. Okay, nicely done. That is one of the ones you can wipe on a lot. As for Seek and Destroy, you can do a glory kill from further away. We won't be using it, but if you wanted to do like a glory kill build, you could couple that with the one we got earlier in the map called Savagery, which allows you to perform glory kills faster. And then with the one we're already using, Dazed and Confused, things stayed staggered for longer. All of those can synergize quite nicely once you get to the point where you have 3 runes.
Tempered by the fires of hell, his iron will remains steadfast through the passage that preys upon the weak. For he alone was the Hellwalker, the unchained predator who sought retribution in all quarters, dark and light, fire and ice, in the beginning and the end. And he hunted the slaves of doom with barbarous cruelty, for he passed through the divide as none but demon had before.
Okay, Slayer's Testament 2, and with it more insight into the background and history of the Doom Slayer. And it's not, 100%, but let's face it, it's looking like the Doom Marine is the Doom Slayer. And various codex entries that we've already uncovered and to come kind of support that. I'll talk more about that later. You notice we got 3 out of 4 for Dead Man Stalking, so just one more Praetor token, and we have that challenge complete. And here is a combat support drone. And we're going to go ahead and modify the Gauss Cannon with Siege Mode. And what this does is it kind of plops you down. You can't move until it's fully upgraded. And it charges up a massive shot, which will just cut through a bunch of different things in a line. So it's really some of the highest damage in the game, and it's pretty badass. Now, I immediately use 3 weapon upgrade points to upgrade Siege Mode with reduced charge time. So when you plop it down to do a big blast, it doesn't take so long to charge the shot up. You're not as vulnerable. So that's very helpful. Now there you saw we got our second Doom Guy collectible. So those are done. Our rune trials are done. Just a few things left and we'll be on our way here. Okay, and another holographic forensic report showing that Hayden and his expedition had made it this far. So we're homing in on whatever they were after. Wow, a giant red Minotaur demon, Devitron. A new monster. Those are called Barons of Hell, and they are just absolutely nasty. Now here you're seeing the secret lever. You'd almost forgotten about it, but I know you hadn't. And check this out. Look what's hiding behind this little column. See that? That is a nod to Skyrim. It is one of the Easter egg hunts from Skyrim where you have to find that guy with the arrows sticking out of its helmet or whatnot. Anyway, just a cool nod to Skyrim that the devs threw in. Here is our classic Doom map, Slough of Despair. And this one, in contrast to the others, like I always say, I don't remember kind of being here, but I'm sure I was. But maybe not, who knows. Other things to note from the last fight, we successfully completed Momentum Swing, which required us to kill 10 enemies while using a power-up. We got that done. We completed the Weapon Mastery Challenge for Explosive Shot on the Combat Shotgun, so that is fully upgraded. And we got to like 3 or 4 out of 5 on the Lock-On Burst for the rocket launcher, where we have to kill 5 summoners with Lock-On Burst. So a lot, happened in that fight. It was pretty big time. Alright, there you see a nice use of siege mode on the Gauss Cannon. Although, you also notice the Gauss Cannon will kick you back, so you have to be careful because sometimes it'll kick you off a ledge or back into something that you don't want to be backed into. Okay, before we end the mission and move on from the Cadanger Sanctum, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Cadanger Sanctum, at least to the extent we've learned about it from Codex entries thus far. Apparently, it's the part of Hell where Hell's most revered champions are buried. So the vilest, most wicked, best at doing Hell's work demons are buried and revered here. But most interesting and perhaps ironic, Hell's most hated enemies are also kept here. So that would explain why someone like the Doomslayer were buried in Cadanger Sanctum.
And in his conquest against the blackened souls of the doomed, his prowess was shown. In his crusade, the Seraphim bestowed upon him terrible power and speed, and with his might he crushed the obsidian pillars of the blood temples. He set forth without pity upon the beasts of the Nine Circles.
Alright, so Slayer's Testament 3 there, and to a large extent, more of what we already know. The Doomslayer was a pretty kick-ass warrior that really didn't like hell or the demons and was on a mad rampage to wipe it all out. What's interesting and new about this Testament entry is that there was a seraphim mention, something like the seraphim bestowed upon him terrible speed and power. Well, seraphim, at least in traditional liturgy, refers to an angelic type of entity. And so perhaps there are more players involved, right? You know, like angels versus demons with regard to the history of hell, the history of the Doomed Slayer, etc., etc. So more on that later. For now, Dead Man Stalking for 4, all challenges complete. We have 7 weapon upgrade points, 6 of them on Outer Beam to completely upgrade Siege Mode. What that does is it makes a much bigger beam when you use Siege Mode, so it really catches quite a bit in its path. It's really quite awesome. And that unlocked the Mastery Challenge as well. I'll talk more about that later as we get into it. For now, everything's done, all the challenges. All that remains is to figure out what was Hayden after, and how do we get back to Mars? It's go time, Devatron! Dr. Hayden was after the Doomslayer all along. And guess what? The Doomslayer's coming back to Mars to meet him again. Into the fire! Another perfect scorecard. We'll see you on the next episode of Doom.